Hey everyone! About a few weeks ago, Kamna and I read an article in the Times of India about pet abandonment. It was a study by Mars Petcare and an advisory board of animal welfare experts. It revealed that about 50% of pet owners abandon their pets from the onset of the pandemic. So the study talked about two groups of people worried that their pets could be carriers of the COVID-19 virus, and the other group that had actually brought their pets home during the lockdown but couldn't take care of them once things kind of went back to normal. The study sampled data from 9 countries and, well, we ranked the worst. 80 million dogs and cats in India homeless either in shelters or out on the streets.
Unfortunately, impulse adoptions, purchases and abandonment aren't really a new thing. Sadly, it only got worse with the lockdown. When Nishant and I read this, we thought about how we could play a part in helping solve this problem, use our experiences, our challenges and what it took for us to overcome them. Our goal with this video is to help you make good informed decisions when considering either adopting or getting a pet from a licensed breeder.
We have only ever raised dogs, so it's only natural for our experiences to be tailored to parenting dogs. But we do believe that some of these experiences can be extrapolated to other pets as well. But let's start with the why, and by that I mean, why are you getting a dog? Is it love? Is it because you find them absolutely adorable? Are you craving companionship? Or maybe you rescued a dog and now you're considering adopting them entirely? Strangely enough, what helped Kamna and I answer this question was a conversation we had with our parents a few years ago. We were dependents back then, and I recall them asking us some tough questions. They mentioned that we were bringing home life, they're going to be there for 10, maybe 15, 20 years. What if you have to travel for education or work? What if education or work took you to a different city or country altogether? And the funniest question, or rather the toughest question that was asked, was what if your partner were allergic to dogs or maybe even hated them? I simply do not have an answer to those questions, and that was that. I realized that it was maybe unfair of me to expect my parents to handle these responsibilities as I moved on with my life. And there's really no such thing as, oh, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, at least not with this. I was definitely being selfish. I looked at it from the perspective of what having a dog would bring to the table, but for me, what I should have thought of instead was what all of these variables would have done to a dog. And I realized right there that there's just this huge commitment involved here.
And that brings us to our second point, commitment. Whether you're getting married or moving somewhere, your dog would absolutely want to be with you. We get to grow up, go to work, have a social life, all of that. But our dogs are always going to be dependent on us. They're limited to the experience and exposure that you can enable for them. Change is tough and constant, and they'll always want you to be there through those changes. It's more than a friendship. They look to us as we would our parents, as we would leaders, and as we would expect our parents to be there for us. That's the same expectation they have from us.
And this commitment extends to everyone within your proximity as well. Because bringing a dog home isn't a personal thing if you live with your family, or for that matter, anyone else you might be living with. Understand how much help or commitment they are willing to offer with a dog being a part of your family. Are they even comfortable with the idea? Are they going to be available for medical emergencies? What happens when you have to travel for work or even leisure?
I remember an amazing opportunity at work for which I had to move to a different city for a few months. And Nishant did not even blink once. He had a demanding job himself, and we did not even have a house help either. But still, he supported me, he encouraged me, and he stood up to the task and managed everything on his own. So this is why we should be able to rely on people around us when we need it.
So we decided to shoot this scene in our balcony. I hate the cold, and this place gets so much sun. It's the perfect location to fight off the cold.
And that brings us to point 3 on this list, your location.
We aren't talking about a breed more suited to the climate of your location, even though that's a very, very important point to consider. This is more from a human perspective. I mean, are you renters? Because some landlords just aren't comfortable with the idea of having tenants with dogs. We know we struggle so much because of it. But there's an even bigger point to consider, which could be a hurdle regardless of whether you're tenants or homeowners, and that's the society or locale you live in.
Do they have rules restricting pets or bans on the use of parks? Both illegal, by the way, but are you willing to spend your time and energy fighting this? It is important to consider these factors before bringing a dog home rather than being forced to abandon them because of the hostility around you. That's just not cool. We saved the most important point for last, and that is time and money.
Yeah, Kamna and I actually have a saying, and that is time is the most important currency you can have for your dog. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't consider the financial implications of having a dog as well. There's vaccinations, general health care, fitness, food. Basically, everything requires a balance between time and money.
We remember when we found out about Cross having a tumor, and this was just 15 days after we had adopted him. The surgery and post-op care shook our financial foundations, and it took us a long time for things to get back to normal.
But the point we are trying to make here is that dogs aren't as materialistic as we are. Sure, they love their toys and their meats, but more than anything, they just absolutely want to be with us all the time. It's a very, very rewarding experience for them. It took some time for us to figure this out because Kamna and I are both in high-powered professions. We were sometimes forced into working for 12 or 13 hours a day, but that did not become an excuse for us.
We always took them out for their walks, exercise and play. Yes, every now and then one of us has to take the bigger chunk of responsibility, but overall there's always a sense of balance between us.
And that brings us to the end of this video. And that brings us to the end of this video. And that brings us to the end of this video.
What? You don't want to end it.
And that brings us to the end of this video.
Our idea with this video was to discuss the human side of things, external factors that may contribute to abandonment.
We thought about making this a longer episode in which we consider the dog side of things as well. Things like which breed might be right for you if you're buying, the temperament of the dog that you might be bringing into the family, should gender be a factor, for example, or even why you should consider adoption, aspects like bringing home an older dog versus a puppy.
But we didn't want to bombard you with that much information all at once. The second part on this topic will be coming out soon.
And as usual, if you loved our content, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us understand if this is the kind of content that you would like to see more of. The bell icon as well.
Also, if you would like to see our experience on raising a deaf dog, please click here. And if you want to see a recipe, a healthy cake recipe for your dogs for any special occasion, please click here.
Until next time, this is apawfive and a happy new year from us to you.